right, Rangers, today we've got transfer drama, potential exits, and some big moves on the cards that could shake things up at Rangers. From missing out on a £20 million star to Cyriel Dessers finally looking like he's on his way out, and a stunning twist in the chase for a Player of the Month wonder kid, it's all happening. Oh, and just wait till we dive into the exciting news about Dundee's Lyall Cameron and why he could be Ibrox bound soon. And don't forget, today's the big game against Aberdeen. You know, the mighty Dons who've been about as threatening as a damp matchstick this season. Tomorrow, I'll have all the updates on that clash, so make sure to tune in again. But for now, let's get stuck into the headlines that every Rangers fan needs to hear. So here's the crack. Rangers had a sniff at bringing in Chelsea's young midfielder Carney Chukwuemeka, who cost the London lot a whopping £20 million back in 2022. But let's not kid ourselves. The lad's salary alone is £100,000 a week. That's not just a wage, that's a full-blown ransom. Chelsea apparently thought a loan spell up here could toughen him up a bit, what with Rangers being a proper pressure cooker club where standards are sky high. Sounds logical, eh? But Borussia Dortmund have sauntered in, waving their shiny record of turning wonder kids into world beaters. Think Erling Haaland or Jude Bellingham, and suddenly the draw of Germany looks much stronger than the pull of a wet Wednesday at Rangers. Typical. Now, the big sticking point was always going to be Chelsea's conditions: a 6-month loan, no option to buy, and someone else covering that eye-watering salary. If Dortmund fancies taking on the full burden, you can't blame Chelsea for leaning their way. Rangers would have needed Chelsea to chip in big time for the wages, and you can hardly see that happening with Dortmund in the mix. Meanwhile, Rangers seem to be focusing on more realistic targets like Dundee's Lyall Cameron, a young, dynamic midfielder whose contract's running out. That's a proper deal that could give us value and longevity instead of a temporary plaster like Chukwuemeka. Now, here's one for you. With big clubs like Chelsea and Dortmund hovering around players of this caliber, should Rangers even bother going after temporary signings who'll just pop in and out? Or is it better to stick with finding hidden gems like Cameron, who might actually stick around and bleed Rangers blue? Let's hear what you think. Looks like Cyriel Dessers might be packing his bag sooner rather than later, with Empoli sniffing around for a striker. The Italian side's been dragging their heels a bit, but now it seems they're ready to make a move. Alongside Roma's Eldor Shomurodov, and Dessers is in their sights to bolster their attack. Honestly, if they're serious, Rangers should jump at the chance to cash in. Let's face it, Dessers hasn't exactly set the heather on fire since arriving. At 30, he's not getting any younger, and sitting on the bench isn't doing him or Rangers any favors. His value's already taken a knock with his poor start to the season, so holding on until the summer could see us scraping pennies instead of pocketing a decent fee now. The funds from his departure could be put to much better use. The backline's been held together with duct tape and prayers lately, so a solid centre-back should be priority number one. Meanwhile, the likes of Hamza Igamane and Danilo are holding their own up top, so it's not like we'd be left short in the scoring department. Here's a spicy one for you, though. Would letting Dessers go now be a bold bit of business? Or is it just Rangers admitting they made a dud signing in the first place? Let the debates begin. So, Nicky Cadden bagged the Player of the Month award, and fair play to the lad. 3 assists and 4 wins from 5 games for Hibs in December. But if you're like me, you're probably scratching your head, wondering how none of our boys got a sniff. Hamza Igamane's 4 goals, Ianis Haji's resurgence, Tav finding his stride again and scoring in back-to-back wins, not even a mention. Smells a bit off, doesn't it? Meanwhile, down in South Africa, there's buzz about a certain Ikram Rainers. The Rangers have been linked with this lad, and you can see why. 5 goals in 1 match last season is enough to turn anyone's head. A bit of a late bloomer at 29, but his knack for finding the net might be exactly what we need, especially if the Cyriel Dessers saga ends with him moving on. Although Chief Exec Patrick Stewart's not sounding too keen on shipping out senior players mid-season, with the Scottish Cup and Europa League still on the table. Here's the thing though, if we're seriously considering shelling out £2.4 million for Rangers, we'd need to be sure he's a step above what we've already got. Is it worth gambling on an untested striker from the South African League, or should Rangers stick with proven talent closer to home? The buzz around Lyall Cameron coming to Rangers is growing, and it's easy to see why folks like David Edgar are getting excited. The lad's been smashing it for Dundee with 5 goals and 4 assists this season, numbers that don't go unnoticed, especially in a team crying out for some creativity. Plus, he's already clocked over 100 games at just 22. That's proper experience for his age. Now, while Dundee are trying to tie him down with a new deal, it looks like Cameron's heart might be set on a bigger stage. If Rangers wait until the summer, they could get him for free, barring the usual compensation wrangling for young players. But if they swoop now, it'd mean paying a small fee to Dundee, a fair trade if it avoids another tribunal circus like Connor Barron's move from Aberdeen. Rangers need more homegrown talent, and Cameron fits the bill. But with only the Scottish Cup and Europa League left to salvage a pretty underwhelming season, any incoming player needs to hit the ground running. He's a fantastic prospect, no doubt, but can he handle the step up from Dens Park to the pressure cooker of Rangers, where every touch is scrutinised by thousands? Should Rangers focus on signing a young talent like Cameron to build for the future, or is this the wrong window to take chances given the need for instant results? Let the debate kick off. So, Rabbi Matondo's time at Rangers looks to be drawing to a close, and let's be honest, it hasn't exactly been the fairy tale we'd all hoped for. After arriving from Schalke in 2022 with plenty of hype and a price tag of £2.5 million, he was meant to add pace and quality out wide. Instead, injuries and inconsistency have made his stint at Rangers feel more like a cautionary tale than a success story. Now, talks are ramping up for a move, and it seems like it's a race between Serie A clubs like Torino and Lecce and some English Championship sides like Sunderland and Sheffield Wednesday. Given his £23,000 a week wages, any deal freeing up that space is bound to help Rangers in the January window. Rumour has it Rangers are looking for a 7-figure sum, either through a loan-to-buy deal or a straight sale, to recoup some of the cash splashed on him. The frustrating part? If Matondo had been loaned out in the summer, Rangers might have had a shot at signing Samuel Edozie, but Matondo stayed and then got injured in the Old Firm derby. With only 8 appearances, 3 starts, and a couple of goals this season, it's clear Clement's not keen on repeating the mistake of holding on too long. Has Matondo been a victim of circumstance, or was he just not up to Rangers' standards from the start? Let's hear your take. If you haven't seen yesterday's video yet, you're missing out. Explosive news about Rangers that'll leave every fan stunned. Go check it out now.